And focus. How's it going, everyone? We are going to be continuing on with division with remainders. And so we're going to get started right away with this problem right here. 850 divided by 24. So we're trying to find out how many groups of 24 we can have in 100 or in 850. That is a lot. You can see our little Bob Goblin character. He is quite worried that this is a very, very, very large problem. So we're going to start with a little bit of vocabulary. So this number right here, this number, this 850 in the front is called, it has a special name. So this one is called a dividend. Okay. And this number right here is called, this 24 has a special name, and this one is called a divisor. Okay, and so we're going to be talking about the dividend and divisor here in a second. So this is a huge problem. I cannot do this in my head, and I don't think Bob Goblin can because he looks pretty worried. So we're going to try to work it out. And I'm going to show you a cool little trick that we use, that I like to use, and it has a little bit of estimation in it. So we're going to write this out a little bit differently than what you're used to. So traditionally you've seen it look like this, where you have 24 and then you have 850. And then you try to find out how many times 24 goes into 85, and then you bring down zeros and things like that. But we're not going to do that right now. I'm going to show you a different way really quickly. And so I'll solve this one in a little bit, and you can kind of pick and choose which one you think you like better. So first thing I want to do is I want to try to figure out multiples of 24. Now I can kind of do that, so we're going to take a look here and see what I can do with that. So I know that 24 times 1, and I know that that equals 24. And I also know that 24 times 2 is going to be 48. And I know that 24 times 3 is going to be 72. And we'll just put 24 times 4 in there. Why not? So 24 times 4, and that's going to be 96. So we'll kind of stop right there. So I know that it's not going to be 24 times 4 is 96. I know that because I'm still not to 850. I'm not going to have 4 groups. That's crazy. I need to have a lot more than 4 groups because this is 96 and I need to get to 850. So I'm going to use a little trick that we did when we were talking about multiples of 10. So let's write down some multiples of 10 for multiplying it by 24. So I have 24, we'll say, times 10. We'll have 24 times 20, 24 times 30, and 24 times 40. Okay, so I'm going to show you what we're doing for the first one. Remember how we just looked at the 0 and we just added a 0 on? So here's 24 times 1 is 240. So I just added the 0 on. So I'm just going to look at it here, and I know that 24 times 2 is 48. So 24 times 40 is going to be 480. So I'm just adding that 0 on. See, I just added the 0 on. So I know this one's going to be 720, and this one's going to be 960. Okay, so I can get pretty close to 850. So the one that's the closest without going over is this 24 times 30. And so with that in mind, we are going to use a little bit of estimation, and I'll show you how that works right here. So we're going to set it up just a little bit differently. I'm going to take 24 and I'm going to put my divisor 24 on the outside like before, And we're going to make something a little bit different here. This is 850. I'm going to draw a line down here. And this line, you'll see it's going to become important later. So I have 24 times 30 gets me 720. So that's going to be pretty close. So just like the normal way we've been trying to solve it, we just subtract like normal. But I'm going to write the 30 because it's 24 times 30 right there. Okay? On this side. So 24 times 30 is 720. And so I'm going to subtract. I'm going to say, well, 0 minus 0 is going to be 0, and 5 minus 2 is going to be 3, and 8 minus 7 is going to be 1. So now I have 130. And so with that 130, I know that 96 up here is pretty close to 130. It's not quite, but it's pretty close. And so we'll see what we get. Okay? So I take 24 and I times it by 4 to get 96. So I times it by 4. And I'll write my 4 there, and I'll write my 96 right here. And now I'm going to subtract. So 130 minus 96. I have to do a little bit of borrowing here, and that's okay. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to borrow right here, make that a 13. I'm going to cross it out, make that a 12. So 10 minus 6 is going to be 4, and 12 minus 9 is going to be 3. Okay, well now we're getting even closer. So I know that, well, look up here. 24 times 1 is, well, 24, and that's pretty close to 34. See, and so I'm going to write my 24 times 1 right there. And 24 times 1 is going to be 24. And then I'm going to subtract, and I know that this is going to be 10. So the nice part about this is I now have everything that I need to solve my problem. I now have everything that I need to solve my problem. So what is the answer and what is my remainder? Because I do have a remainder here. So my answer is this. It's 34. 3 plus 4 plus 1. Well, what is that? That is 35, right? And what's my remainder? 10. It's kind of switched a little bit, but 24, or excuse me, 850 divided by 24 equals 35 with a remainder of 10. Okay, you see how I did that? See how it's nice? I don't have to know exactly what goes into them, which is kind of nice. I kind of like that, and then I just add it up in the end. So we're going to try it just the traditional way and see how close we get. Well, I know that 24 doesn't go into 8, so I'm going to leave that one blank. And I know 24 goes into 85. Well, I kind of made my list over here, so I know it goes into it 3 times. So 3 times 24 is going to be 72. And I'm going to now subtract. I have a 3 and I have a 1, and look at that. Bring down my 0. I have 130. So 24 goes into 130 how many times? Well, it goes into it, let's see, I know that it goes into it, well, 4 times. Well, it kind of goes into it more than that, because let's try 4, because we tried 4 here, and I think it might be 4, so let's try it out. So 4, I'll just write it there. We'll see what happens. So 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times 2, well, that's going to be 8 and 9, 96. So let's subtract it and see what we get. This is 12, and so this is 4. Oh no, this is a problem. So here's the problem that I see with a lot of students is that what happens is they get a number down here that's bigger than 24. So this 4 can't be correct. And so now I have to scribble everything out and then try to figure out, well, how many times is 24 going to 130? It's really hard to do. So I'll just take this and go, well, maybe a 5. Well, I scribbled it out, and so I'll have to scribble this out. And so, well, 5 times 4, I know that is a 0, and 5 times, and I put a 2 up here, and 5 times 2 is going to be 10, so that's 120. See how messy this gets? So I have to, and then I subtract, and finally I get 10, and I go, okay, well now it's a remainder of 10. I know now that 850 divided by 24 equals, well, after some scribbling out, I know that it's 35 with a remainder of 10. So I like this way a lot better, and you might like this way, and that's okay. If you can do this without going over and making mistakes, and you like scribbling stuff out, that's fine. But I also think that this way is a little bit neater, and especially when I start thinking about just multiplying up to 4, and then doing, maybe even going even higher than that, doing multiples, and then also doing multiples of 10 when I start to get to some really big numbers that I'm dividing. All right, so hopefully this helps you guys out, and we'll see you guys later.